Hey guys, yeah, 2 o'clock as we get going into the final couple hours here ahead of more tech earnings to come after the close tonight. It's been a pretty rough couple of days, let's be honest. 2 days in a row now. The market overall continuing to slide this afternoon, although we're on a bit of a bounce right now. It's kind of the opposite of what we saw yesterday because we have right now the 2-year, the 10-year, and the 30-year all downside significantly after that huge bounce back yesterday that kind of kicked off the selling for equities. But I mean, I'm sitting here looking at the 10-year at 4.85, the 30-year at 5 flat. It hasn't been there since 2 days ago. And the 2-year, the more shorter term, 5.04 still. So big move down here. We were at 5.11, 5.12 yesterday on the 2-year, all the way back to 5.04. Frank Caberna coming up this afternoon. We'll get his take not only on the GDP number from this morning, but on what is to come tomorrow with PCE. Obviously, I mean, it's not the biggest inflation number, but it will be definitely a market mover as far as what the Fed could do. Coming up next week, there are a few individual areas of the market where we are still seeing some strength. This is one of them. Chinese ADRs having quite the afternoon. That's just Alibaba, but most of them in pretty good shape here. Baba actually trying to get back to highs as we speak. As I mentioned, the market overall trying to bounce 1.8% for the NASDAQ, about a full percent for the S&P 500. Yeah, this is not going to help. A lot of red, to say the least, here for tech. Meta leading, obviously, off their report last night, 4% still, 3.5% for Microsoft, Google, 2.6%, Apple, NVIDIA. You can see the rest. It's been pretty ugly. Amazon on deck, 1.5%. The other area of notable strength here is banks outside of JP Morgan. Rest of these, though, in pretty good shape here this afternoon. A lot of green coming through. Utilities, industrial stocks as well. Even the energy sector did give it up early, but there was initially a bit of strength with oil. Tried to bounce early, but right back down throughout the session. That's the S&P 500, a little bit of a wick at the bottom end of the candle, but we'll see how the day wraps up here as we continue this pullback. I saw Michael Noss was tweeting about 400 possibly if we don't hold here. So we'll talk to him coming up later in the week. Let's get into what we were discussing. If you're with us in the pre-market this morning, obviously Meta was top of the list coming off their report after the close yesterday. It was initially positive, but on the call they said they were going to spend a whole bunch more on the metaverse. That didn't go over too well, gets sold right back down. This morning we gapped to the downside. I mean, we were up, we were down, we're kind of sideways now, guys.
We were just sort of looking at the SPY, that 400 call. I mean, yeah, if we don't hold on to these levels, it's hard not to. I know we're supposed to be talking about Meta, but that's what's on my mind right now because you just said it, so that's what's on the mind. But that, yeah, 400 doesn't seem that unreasonable. If we weren't going to hold on to this level in the NASDAQ, you can see us bounce in the market. You can see us bouncing a little bit now, but why not? I could see under 400, but the 400 level, that's the last little bottom, 404. On the SPY, let's respect it. I am now finally recovered 72 and broke out on Morgan Stanley. So if remember during lunch money, I'm like, that's where I wanted to see some strength. It finally came in, so I'm going to be long in front of 72 on Morgan. They're having a good day. Well, okay, fine. They're up 1%. I mean, 1% is not a lot, but in my world, they're having a good day today. So I'll go with that. I actually did not trade Meta today. Fine with these earnings plays. Like the opening, like look at the open range that if you don't capture that, I was trying to get a 280. I wasn't very aggressive with it. Now all of a sudden, look at what's happening on Meta. So off VWAP, a consolidation off VWAP holding 86, that would look solid. Maybe some underfilled, maybe 85 is good. But it is tightening up the range the longer this goes on. It's literally moving less the later we get in the day. So I need to see it start stair-stepping cleanly, maybe another consolidation higher. But this is a simple case of it doesn't matter how good the numbers are if you've had that big of a run-up going into earnings and the market's doing what it's been doing recently. So, you know, Meta down 4% is more reflective of the environment that we're in and where this bad boy has been on the daily. Whoops, that's still the SPY chart. Let me just pop that back in there. Yeah, it has more to do with where we are in the daily and it pulling back. Once 300 was rejected, that kind of an accumulation zone, it's tricky to get back into it. Doubt we see 300 this afternoon. Said this morning we'd short it if it got there. I don't think that's going to happen. Any afternoon short on Meta looks more like the low to mid 290 range. That's got to be the top. I seriously doubt we have any shot at 300. I mean, that we have to go green, and it's down 4%.
Meta. Okay. As you can see, we are good. Okay, so 400. We just went long down there below 400, 399 and change. We did take some bids there at 400. Once it broke, am I muted? Power off. Right there. So we'll get.
Is it dead?
Take it over to you.
They will come to me for a second. Well, I've already talked about Meta, so yeah, sometimes we have mic issues. It is what it is. You cannot have this show with 0 mic issues. Anyone that watches it knows what's up. If we do, then it's just we're not being us, because it shows how we're traders and not necessarily broadcasters.
Well, yeah, but we should have it prepared before.
Well,
it's all good. So, all right, just real quickly here, we are long NVIDIA off $400 here. That's what we were talking about. It was just $4 or $5 in the money. My most negative day, most negative stock there. This is not my most negative day. But Meta, we only tried it once, and we tried it early, and we kind of left it alone. We've been dancing with Microsoft, which we could talk to once we get going on the next point. But yeah, we tried it early, man. It went a nice move up. We were at $300. We actually wanted the 300 short. That's what we wrote down on the sticky note. But when it fell into VWAP and everything at 290, we thought we would test it there at 290, but that didn't come through at all. Then we gave it another shot at 287, dropped it out at 286. Or so, 50 or so. And then since then, Meta's really been giving me not much trade, as you can see, but there was a really good bottom there at 284, 285. I know they talked about that on the midday show as well, but here we go. Has the market bottomed out a little bit? Potentially it has down there, made that nice little move. You are coming back into the IB lows already, so it is a pretty solid move back from 14,150. You're now up almost 100 handles from the bottom, and here goes NVIDIA. NVIDIA just touched. Again, we could have got it. I'm debating getting out at 405. Like, we just went to 405 again and stopped. 404.90. So we've got $5 right now on this trade. It's my number one name today, although it's pretty close. Google, GBTC is up there as well. But NVIDIA is starting to rock and roll. I just want to hold this in case we have seen the bottom. Maybe the market goes to VWAP, and if this thing does as well, then we're pretty good at 407, 408. So we'll hold on to NVIDIA for a minute and see where it goes. But it almost did take the 50 period there at 402. So we're lighter on these names. Let's go over to the desk, and then we'll discuss Microsoft next.
All right, let's go on to some other tech names here. Sean mentioning a few there, but it's been quite the day here as far as, I mean, we saw that. Maybe I'll grab that heat map again. Just to emphasize the fact that this is all about tech this afternoon to the downside. Everything basically a lot red, led by Meta. Obviously, we have Amazon coming up tonight. After the close, 1.5% to the downside here going into earnings.
And we can't blame it on yields today because,
they are cooperating.
Yeah, the yields basically, they held up. It was bonds going the other way. So, and I'm just sinking here as it's okay.
Adjust it.
Yeah, we'll fix this.
It's fine.
Technical difficulties on set to be expected. Yeah, we can't blame it on yields. We've had yields move down with equities today and bonds moving up. We saw the Treasury note, the Treasury auction for the 7-year come in above expectations. Yesterday, 5% is the 5-year as well came above expectations. Not much with respect to catalysts though, aside from Meta.
Yeah, we were thinking in the pre-market, we were sitting here with yields going the opposite direction, then we get that GDP print, and we get that huge reversal back to the downside we go. So, as I said, Frank's coming up this afternoon. We'll get his take on what's to come today and tomorrow. The problem with these chairs is this desk is not a normal height. It's like bar height. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it's like the height of like a bar. So these aren't chairs. They're like bar stools. But anyways.
Here's the thing. The chairs suck. So let's just get it out of the way. Like, I'm not blaming. The desk is gorgeous. I love that desk. I think we have that's one of my favorite things about the studio. Like, we used to have like a virtual desk. You remember and it was like it looked like it was something out of a bad sci-fi film. It's a gorgeous looking desk, and there's nothing wrong with it. Before we get to big cap tech, I just want to acknowledge what's going on in Cassava Sciences. That just happened in Sava. It just tagged 1992. There is someone with some shenanigans on the bid at 1970. They've stacked the bid. anyways, sometimes I like to show these when it happens. So someone stacked the bid up here, pushing it into the 20 level. So Sava is running on some positive news. It might make a pullback if they fill that guy. If they fill 1970, it might pull back into the 50. Oh my goodness, they just moved it up to 1990. So there's someone pushing the stock up. I don't like to get involved because I don't think anybody wants that fill on Sava. That feels like it's a fugazi bid to me because they're not actually filling orders. They're just pushing it through 20. I'd be a little careful, but this is squeezing to the upside. Someone is pushing underneath the bid. They're not actually taking any fills. Back to big cap tech. I've been in Apple 3 times. Okay, check that 4 times. A couple of longs off 170 early that I wish I reversed on. Didn't, but thankfully we got out of the way. Gave you a 50, 60 cent bounces. I was short once for $1, and now I'm looking right back to where things rolled over. If we're going to have some kind of a lower high, it's right in here, 167.5 that I'm eyeballing. As the NASDAQ gets right back in. Apple's 2.3 down, NASDAQ 1.7, so Apple's weaker than the market. As we get back into overnight highs and this key level at 14.25, I'd be looking for a roll over there. Like if we're going to turn somewhere, that's where I like it on the NASDAQ. And relatively weak is Apple. So somewhere in the 167.5 into VWAP is where I would look to roll in the short. But I'm only in 2 long. Morgan Stanley, and then, I mean, Oracle's not big cap tech, but it's not like I'm going to have another opportunity to mention it. Oracle 100. It's, yeah, went to 100. It broke 100. Went to 99.87. It's been holding 100 ever since. I'm looking for it to break VWAP. But that's just a round number when the market was basing out. Nothing more crazy than that.
Oracle is big cap tech, man. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Well, I don't put when we talk about big cap tech.
Yeah, it's not the big guys.
We generally speaking, when we do this part in the rundown, we're talking about the Magnificent Seven. So usually I keep it to that. But obviously Oracle's not a small company, but they're not Mag 7. But hey, it's a great company. Not going to hate on them. And really, just speaking about Oracle for a quick second, if you look at this bounce or potential area that the market is at, were we to catch a bid and Oracle regains the 200 period moving average, like all you'd have is a small liquidity grab underneath the 200 period, immediately holding it. Like if it breaks back out, that's like 104, 105 if it closes above with the bottom at 100. That's pretty appealing if Oracle can make that kind of a move back over the 200 period. But anyways, that's kind of a different thing. This is just a long off 100.
All right. So we already talked about NVIDIA. We have Alibaba long 50 cents. I mean, this Alibaba dipped down and came into VWAP, came into the 50 period. We bought it. We got it out. So I know I was fighting. I think it was Alex, not fighting. You were short. I was long. There we go for Alibaba. So it's a nice move back up to the upside. But like I said, we're almost out. We have 10% left as we're going to wait to see if we could take down 83 on a good trade. Almost $6 in the money now as NVIDIA is trying to go through the top. And then we have $3. Looking for $3 here on Microsoft. If Microsoft takes 330, I mean, we're still long rate down here at 327, as you can see, so it's 250 in the money. I'm actually waiting for 329.80. Get a piece out. Actually, we're right here right now. Let's get this out. There we go. So now we ring the register on that one, spin it one more time, drop down the money on that, and I'm going to go long, so that's $3 there. I mean, give or take 270 we just took. And now we'll wait to see a break of 330. I actually like the long. Breaking the long through 330 right now. Play some momentum back up to the upside. Give it back to 229.50. But here we go. 330 long. We're going to try to break that as well. As we are really rocking right now today, man. BABA, MBIO, NVIDIA. We just hit Microsoft. So here we go, man. That was $3. We'll see if we can get going again. I want to take a 330 break. It was super weak, obviously, the last couple of days. But Microsoft still just now in and around where we were pre-earnings, right? I think it was 330, right? And then it ripped. Yeah, so here it is right here, 330. Then the move happens to the upside. So we'll try a little bit of a break here on 330 again if it does come in on a better feel for the market. So that's what we're doing. And then Alibaba, 50 cents in the money, waiting for 83 to break. And then we'll see after that. But here we go. The big one right now, and we'll go AMC to the moon because it's NVIDIA, $6 right now in the money. So it's a big one here. We haven't had $6 in a while for me anyways. Happy to have this, but still waiting for more. Looking for that Microsoft break long.
All right, a couple things here. First off, Sava, because Sava Sciences did this yesterday, late in the day, really into the close. But here's another 8%. huge volume spike there at the highs as well. Huge short percent, obviously. There was some data that came out yesterday that suggested it was a peer review of what they thought was misleading, and they couldn't find anything that was wrong with it. So that was, it looked like anyways, what kicked off the rally late in the day yesterday. Anyways, we'll keep an eye on Cassava Sciences here. These are all the analyst moves today on Intel ahead of their report. So Needham, Rosenblatt, Truist, BMO, and UBS all either maintaining or giving the thumbs up ahead of Intel's print here.
Yeah, and Intel, not doing too bad, 0.43 south, but ARM doing the best, 1.13, probably reeling still from that news that NVIDIA and AMD and others are going to use its software base for their processors. They look to compete with Intel to make CPUs. It's getting definitely counter market today, everything down, ARM up 1.13.
Just double checking, nothing new that I can see, guys, on Cassava Sciences, still that short percent looks to be it.
Yeah, and that bidder at 1990 was still there with I haven't seen a single fill get taken on that bid, but they're still walking it to the upside. Intel is having its best down day of the last little bit, I want to say, so it's much tighter range, and it's actually a pretty good bounce off the low. I've only been short. I have not gone into the long in the stock. First one at the open was a stop, and then worked off of the previous day's range, which yesterday, Intel dropped almost $2, pretty much $2 top to bottom if you got it dead on, and it's half that today. But we're shorted under 33. Generally speaking, the last time we got in was right in here. I had a trail. I'm still holding on to some of it, so part of that is a trail out and then re-entries here for about 15 pennies off the bottom that I was scalping, and then a trail out of everything. If we get back to 33, I think 33 is a good zone. It closed at 32.80, so if it tries to go green, my guess is any relief rally to the upside could come to an end in and around that price. So that's the one I have eyeballs on. Oh, sorry, that's not true. I'm also looking at Micron. Micron, there was that news with, goodness, now I'm already forgetting. Yeah, who was the deal breakdown with Western Digital? I knew it was a W something. Western Digital deal breakdown caused this hammer candle to the downside. On a 15-minute, you can't even tell because it all happened in 5 minutes. I was long with a stop out when that happened on Micron, so that's never pretty, but thank goodness I had a stop. I then looked for a bid off of 64, which was the 200-period moving average. First time stop out, second time we get back in on that wick. It went up $1.30. It then was very weak. As the market rebounded, this could not take out that same double top. So the second I saw that, I shorted it into the bottom, 65 into 64. I'm looking for the same thing again. So Micron went from strong this morning to relatively weak, and I like this one south side if we can get back into 65 and VWAP. Kind of like what happened here before. So 64 to 65 is the range for me on Micron. I want to short that top if we get there. And one more note, I did take some out of Morgan Stanley on the way to the high of the day. So VWAP to the top. If I can reload at VWAP, I'll go for that again. If I can't, I'll look for a higher low off of this top if it pulls back. I like to stair step up in Morgan. They're having a good day. The banks are having most of the banks are having a good day. So I want to join the trend here. Finally, I can look at this stock doing something non-negative.
Okay, so just a little bit of an update there. We are now finally out. So we will go, This is our number one stock today after just getting out of it. Unfortunately, it did take VWAP there. We got out at 50s when it broke below, so we are giving up 50 cents on where it is right now. There's the break below on the 200 period, sorry, not the VWAP. So it is a break there, down below. It was hovering the whole time. It just kept on looking like we wanted to get back in there. But, this is still pretty bullish. I just want to take it out. We're long from there into there. We already took out our Microsoft at the top. So that's my talk there for NVIDIA. We do have a good, we definitely have a good level there on AMD. We shorted the living, out of this one right there while we were live on the show with you, just at 1050, and then look what happened. It collapsed down, so we're short there 95.40s right here. That fill is 94, so that's another $1.30 right there to the downside, and then we finish, and that was it. So now we'll wait to see if AMD could do anything. I'm still waiting for the name that we had on our list here, Intel today. to get back up into these levels, 33.20. If that happens, we'll try to short that. But right now, that's what we're doing. We've got some trades on board now with MBIO and Alibaba, but looking to get a little bit more. As we just got out of NVIDIA, I think we'll probably look back and probably be sad about that. But, you know, it doesn't just keep going up forever, or does it? With the market being pretty weak here today, I am looking at that. And then here's why you got to get out. Remember Microsoft? So it's like basically same number of shares, same everything as NVIDIA was Microsoft. There's us getting out, you know, ahead, and then there's the breakdown lower. So, you know, sometimes you make decisions on one stock based on a technical break and it works, and then the other one you don't. So that's a good one right there for Microsoft back in. I say we just wait for Intel. So that's what I'm going to probably do here as the market looks like it wants to pull back a little bit.
All right, here's the Xpeng robot guy. We were talking about this morning, if you remember. This is the one that they've got coming to rival Optimus from Tesla. There's a great video of Optimus, by the way, of it sorting blocks, color-coded blocks, which is crazy. Anyways, that's the one for Xpeng. We were talking about that and the robotaxi option this morning. Nice day, though, 4% here.
Can't wait to get one of those clean my condo. That'd be
damn right.
That's a look there. All right, XBEV announcing today that they want to roll out their self-driving software in Europe and the 50 other cities in China where it's not already being used. They announced that 90% of users who have the software installed in Beijing are actually using it on a daily basis, Brendo. Tesla's full self-driving not available in China.
Yeah. I was just wondering if this would, like, we'll get to a point where instead of going out and buying a vacuum, you just buy one of these.
Fantastic.
Make you dinner. I'm game.
Amazing, and this is crazy because I didn't know this existed, but maybe you know what these are. But there's this thing, and it's like this big, yay big. You put it down in your house. And it goes around, and it's unobtrusive, and it's not very big. It's small, tiny, not a gigantic, ugly robot, and it actually vacuums your house for you.
Yes.
I don't know what it's called, but I know that it probably is better than that ugly, gangly-looking robot that I don't need doing anything for me, except staying the hell away from myself. Xpeng, oddly enough, I want to say Xpeng wasn't a trade today because it wasn't a trade for me and it never set up for anything that I was interested in. But if you did just respect the range on Xpeng, you actually could have made some money today. I was expecting you'd break the range one way or the other. I was looking for a dip buy into this area, down into 14 that you could give to like 13.9, like this close, and then maybe it would run, or a pop-up that you could fade, like a pop past 15. Instead, what you got was the opportunity to just scalp it off the lows, scalp it short off the highs, which for now, 14.75 looks like something. Again, this was a nothing burger for me. It's even on the daily, it's not really even at levels on the daily chart that are incredibly interesting. So I'm going to move away from there. I'm going to talk about Rivian because this is an EV name that we did trade today, and it broke 17. Look, Rivian channel down, broke this 17 area, found some resistance above 17 on the daily, and then rolled over. I had the 17 short. I then shorted 16.50. I had a brief salvo at 16 even because if 17 worked and 16.15 worked, why not 16? But it didn't. So I got in and out there at the bottom at 16. I don't want to diddle too much in the middle, but it does feel like it's trying to roll over here with the market. And I like the 16 quarter, maybe into the 30. I only want to short pops on Rivian, down 5.5% today. The chart looks like it, like aren't we headed back into like 15, 13, I don't know, somewhere down in here. Like there's just nothing about this that says it's made a bottom just yet. Maybe it's getting close, I don't know. I just feel like Rivian looks like a short on that daily chart. So keep taking some cracks at it. But you know, that was the one worth watching today, at least I thought. Yeah, Xpeng, if you wanted to scalp it, sure, but I mean, you're in Alibaba. Pinduoduo had a better move today. It was like it was a JD, I think, had a move. Like those were the Chinese ADRs I think you wanted to trade today. I haven't looked at NEO to prove otherwise, but not Xpeng.
All right, I'm getting ready to possibly get stopped out on Google, but it's a short into 123, that's all. These highs, the market is better, but we're still under the IB low. So we're going to try to continue with some short talk on that one. Where's NVIDIA right now? Okay, so NVIDIA is still in the pocket. And what a good out that was for Microsoft, of course, as that's continuing its move down. The recent move up, we don't have crypto on there, but I'm going to talk about it right now quickly because this has been a monster move, man. We were just at 27,000 on October 15th. I've got some interesting stats to talk about with today's big time guest. We're going to keep coming out with them over and over and over again. It's the crypto burb himself, 650,000 followers. Adrian Zadunchuk, he's been on a lot of different shows, man, recently. I saw him actually in a really cool, I sent it to Brent. This one's funny. Margin, incoming call from Margin. That's hilarious. Anyways, I'm not going to be able to find it, but Crypto Burb coming through. A couple interesting things to talk about. He wants to talk about some of these charts that he has on there about Bitcoin breaking out. And there is something, I'm going to find it for you once I do. October 28th, which is in 2 days, has historically been the best day for Bitcoin. I'm going to find out why that is here today with Adrian Zadunchuk, Crypto Burb, not Crystal. Crypto Burb joining me at 415er. Okay, so join us on the recap show as we get also tons of earnings tonight, man. Intel's going to be big. We talked about Amazon's going to be monstrous, and that should be a heck of a lot of fun. So if you're able to, please join and catch us then. So, all right, XPeng, I didn't trade that at all. I was waiting for $16 to come through. As Neil said, this might be a good time to talk about Alibaba. Fell back in right there into VWAP. We were waiting for it. Why were we waiting for VWAP? Because the stock is up 2.3%. So when it falls back into VWAP instead of having to make its way back up to VWAP, that's a good trade opportunity there. Obviously, you have to take it against a negative NYSE NASDAQ, but it's been pretty good so far here. So I'm not worried about this trade as we're starting to break up higher and higher and higher right now. It's a 50-cent move. It's almost, I mean, it's not the best. I guess you could have bought down here. We could have bought a lot lower on a lot of these names. But for right now, it is making a move back up. I'm looking for a high break of 83. And then once we get into that, then I'll decide from there what we want to do with it. But just quickly here, because Google is going up as the market is holding the 50 period. It just held it. I have an order at 95. That will be my last take there. You'll see the average price. Look, watch. The average price right now is 70, right? You're going to see we have 2/3 our shares waiting at 122.95. So that's coming up right. Ooh, that's coming up right now. We should be able to get a few more. Ooh, no! Don't tell me we're going to miss it by 2 pennies. But that's where we're waiting to get a little bit more in on Google against 123, guys.
All right, airline action here to wrap things up. This was kind of interesting. 108 additional 737 MAX ordered for Southwest. I mean, it wasn't great as far as the forecast, particularly for Love, but it was all about capacity going into 2024 for them. Downside today.
Yeah, their revenue dropped, Brendo. Income, actually, I should say, 30% year over year on the quarter. Like you mentioned, they're going to slow their capacity expansion into next year. They cited reducing travel demand going back to pre-pandemic levels. These guys didn't get a chance to take advantage of the demand for transatlantic travel. They don't fly overseas, all domestic flights. Delta, United, American Airlines all flew overseas, all got to benefit from
Daily chart pretty ugly on LUV, but I mean, it's trying to bounce here. It did make a nice move this morning, tried to go positive, and then right back down. But that was the one that I've never seen an earnings call at 12:30. No. Kind of strange. Anyway, rundown brought to you by Trade Ideas. 25% off from us to you right now. Go use it. Bottom right corner, QR code will get you there. Or you can just go to trade-ideas.com. You get this as well, their brand new web app version. You can or sign up to be a part of this test drive coming up in 10 days for them as well. You get charts, you get news, you get all the financials here. Shout out to Trade Ideas.
Speaking of trade ideas, I'm going to throw up my trade ideas chart so I can show up my week. Because if I try to zoom back that far, it just goes on forever to show you where Southwest bounced off of. The pandemic bottoms. Yes. The stock has gotten to the pandemic bottoms, and it has made a bounce, 22.5. You wouldn't believe it unless you looked at it. So relief rally as far as I'm concerned. I don't think it's got the juice to break it out the top. So anyways, this looked like it was going to have a chance to go all the way into a high break, but it's really running out of steam. So I don't know if this relief rally is going any further than where it's gotten to today. Just the actual name that probably in this, if you're looking for an airline name, well, not an airline name, but you know it's not an airline, it's Boeing. But if you're looking for a name that is flying higher, got a pun in there for you, then I paper hands. Remember 180 on Boeing? Paper hands Neil when the market looked weak. That's 180 on Boeing, which I risked all of 30 cents on. And Boeing is flying today. 2.5% to the upside. It broke through that 180 level with some gusto. Now, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't look that great on the daily chart, but if you just want to smile when you look at a Boeing chart, just look at your 3-minute, your 15-minute, and you'll feel pretty good about it. Just don't go back too far, otherwise you'll be reminded of what Boeing's generally been doing. I could have gotten back into this. I don't think here, but I should have been back into this right here on that dip when it had confirmed the breakout. I think if we dip into 181, that could be a nice level to work with this trend. So Boeing's on a relief rally. I did jump into Micron. That's the other name I like to the short side. It broke consolidation down like right here, so I got in. I'll probably have a stop in there, like relatively tight into the 70s because that's a ways away from VWAP. So if it's going to break here, fine. But if it does not hold this area, I'm just going to get out and then wait for it to get up to 65. So we'll see what happens. Micron has been relatively weak, 2.8% to the downside, but this market is making some attempts to the upside here. And speaking of attempts to the upside, I'm just going to go back to Morgan. I'm on the bid. That's now under VWAP. I want to be bidding in front of VWAP because if we come down there, I do want to reload. I'm just going to get that and correct that order on Morgan Stanley. I took some out, but didn't get any out the high of the day. I think it might make sense if we get to the high to get out in front of the high. If you have a range-bound day, I shouldn't make the assumption that we're just going to break some levels to the upside. And with Oracle, that is holding VWAP now, which is a good sign. I'm kind of asking myself, like, do I want to consolidate long off of VWAP if we can hold on to 14.25? If we can hold on to this as a bid on the NASDAQ, things get really interesting. And anything that's strong, you want to think about where you can add to it. So I don't know. I think we're done with the 100 level. If it gets back to 100, how good can it be? And looking for somewhere else. I don't know yet, but somewhere else to enter this trade. Because I like the bounce off 100. If we follow through, I want to be able to add to it somewhere. The question is going to be where.
Yeah, that's what I'm battling right now because we just got stopped out there. We were short Google $122.85 out there on the 123 break. So we'll stop a fail on that. Our latest idea right there, not working on the Google break or short into that level. As the market, it's really going. Honestly, it's like bounced off the 50 period, taking it out, and here we go trying to bump up one more time. It looks like we will. There it is. We are now in with our, a stock that we've done really well on. We're actually down on it today. We've talked about that in some of our trading here today on this name, and that is, of course, Microsoft. So, all right, yesterday with earnings, we're now going to go long on a 3:30 break. Let's see where it goes. We just take something out there at 17, but obviously a little bit more of a move for that. There's another one out there. Okay, here we go. Nice move upside now for Softy, King Softy, as we like to call it. And there it goes. Let's see where it goes from here. Nice move upside. We got 30 cents in the pocket here for Microsoft. So good trade. We are out of a third of it already because there you go, we just got some 40s. So now we go on Microsoft. We called this play at least. And just as fast, so it's the same amount of shares we had on Microsoft that we had on Google there. Took a 15 hit, about a 20 cent hit or so with Google. We're 35 cents now in the money on Softy out of about 45% of the trade there. And where is this level right there? That is 320. Okay, that's still way up. All right, I'll put something else at 50, get 50 cents, and then we'll put something else near 75. I don't mind just kind of scaling this out as we go all the way up. Let's see how far we can go. And just missing out on that NVIDIA, really, guys, like that is like now it's $4 higher than where we got out. And we were actually targeting VWAP there. So let's see if we can be a little more disciplined, holding on to some of these. And there we go, 60 cents now in the money as Alibaba looking to take out higher highs right now as well, up at 83.06. So if Alibaba can go, then we're doing pretty good right now. But made all that money back on Google. We just got to make sure that we continue here on Microsoft with some more push higher here and get out of these so we can at least make that money.
And that's why we talk about where the stop is, guys. Tight stop on Micron right in here. Do not let it go a cent past this consolidation level. I'm in, I'm out, don't fight it. Not gonna fight any trends. I'm now out of Morgan Stanley, you're gonna see. Oh wait, it still shows me in I'm not in Morgan Stanley, I've covered. It made a spike. I said I was gonna throw an offer at the high of the day or in front of the local high. I got the fill, and now I'm looking for it to come back down in. So I was able to get out of Morgan Stanley. That'll refresh at some point. I'm only in the Oracle trade at this moment, but I did want to get to PayPal. PayPal having a day. I just looked at Square, and for some reason that's what came to my mind first. And obviously neither one of these two had a good day yesterday, but PayPal held the line at 51. Square a little bit weaker, not much, but a little bit. PayPal trying to get back above yesterday's tops. This was like 51.97, the afternoon highs, I mean. And then today, it's been above, very early, it was above 52 there, and then a lower high. It's trying to battle it. This feels pretty strong. If this market continues, I like PayPal more than I like Square when I look at the two of them. I'm going to look to buy the dip here in PayPal into VWAP, noting this strength. If we're going to hold out and start this relief rally at the end, well, continue this relief rally at the end of the day, then I like PayPal. And the only reason I came to it is because I was looking at Square all day. I'm like, oh man, the stock is weak. Oh, let's check out PayPal. Maybe there's some strength. Because that entire group was beaten up. If you're looking for a short covering rally, take some of the names that got destroyed yesterday or were part of the worst of it and look for them to make a bounce. I'm looking for a dip into VWAP here on PayPal. We'll pick some shares up. Hopefully we get back into Morgan Stanley. And there was something else I wanted to look at. Oh yeah, it was Apple.
Well, Apple might be good.
Apple did get into 160, 167.5. It's kind of a bad wick there, but not at VWAP yet. This pops into VWAP. I'd look for a VWAP fail on Apple. Apple is a lot weaker than the overall market right now. So I don't wonder if this is still an opportunity to short this one into VWAP. Like everything is so strong right now, Apple not even pressing into VWAP on this move is not necessarily that good.
We got out of a little bit there at 330 when it broke back down. Still have the trade on board here. Hopefully Microsoft will go. I was only looking at it because honestly my out's going to be 329. So as we break back down below there, we did get out of about half of what we had left. So that was probably about 30% of the trade, a little bit less than that, about 25% of the trade that we had left back out there. So now we're long at the current price, as we've always been long here, at 0203. So we'll see if it can hold fort, hopefully back to the upside. And I'm going to average in. So if this does fall into like 24, 25, just got to make sure I have so many different bids out here right now on Softy. So we'll correct those. But right now, I'm going to put a bid down there at 329, like 30 or so. If it comes in, I don't know if I want that to come in, but we will see about defending that level as we took the IB low there. We went up to VWAP, completely stopped. And fell back down right off that. Like, that doesn't seem like that much, but that's 30 handles almost immediately right back down. So, yeah, a little bit of trouble spot here I could see happening for the NQs, stopping up there at volume weighted. Average price. All right, so this is at 83. I am going to stop out of Alibaba if it does come back in, breaking back down through 90. So let's fix this. I mean, my Alibaba... On this one, the stop is ridiculous. We're already well in the money on the risk to reward right here. So let's go 82, okay, 89. So 82, 89 out of 100% of what we have left if it breaks lower, because that would be a fail of 83, right? Like we've already been up here. We only have a quarter left of what we had, or a quarter, 20% left of what we had. So, you know, we ran this thing from VWAP all the way to the high of the day again, which is right here. Fails. Now it's down a couple bit. If it hits it, we have the 20-period moving average right here. So if that fills, then we'll get out. It's also supported a little bit by the 50-period. So just a couple more minutes upside. This will naturally start to fix itself. But here it goes. We may get stopped out sooner rather than later on this one as well. So still a good trade, man. That's 50 cents. Either way you cut this one, we should be able to get that fill for 50 cents. But we did spit in the face of 60. But that's the plan. You don't want to get in and out all of the time. Unless your parameters are met. Bills, Tampa Bay. What is the spread?
I want to say I looked at it yesterday. Actually, I looked at it. I think it was 8.
Yeah, it's 9.5.
8.5.
9.
9.5. It moved. I'd swear
I
it was
don't know. I'll have to
when
check.
we put in our survivor picks, it was 8.5.
Oh,
on
yeah,
our
yeah, yeah.
board.
Well, day of the game. I mean, it's
So something broke in our favor.
Move a little.
We're not taking the Bills in
We're not
Survivor.
taking the Bills.
We can't. Actually, oddly enough, I feel the least confident about our Survivor pick than I have all year because we have like 3 of our 4 entries on the Chargers. Which
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
I know they should have went. They should
-9.
win. But like, man, the Chargers have been an utter disappointment. Just one quick thing. I want to get to this before we forget about this because this is important. Like just now, you were mentioning the IB. I think the IB highs, lows is something that's been brought to us. And Lone Sophos was just like, oh, it's funny how you guys are using that. Well, I'll tell you this from the heart. Willing to learn every single day. Like I used to throw it, it's the opening range bottom, it's the whatever, and it's a new term for me because I'm not a futures trader, so I don't mind saying, and we've learned a lot from our community, and we hope you guys learn from us, and we certainly learn from you guys all the time. So shout out to Dan Emmons, Lone Sophos, Ponzi, all of you guys who help us to learn. And in the mode of learning, you guys know where I'm going with this. Every single trader out there has to go through a learning curve. So this is exactly why. Our community that we have is fantastic, partly because we can all learn together, and we're free for a reason. You can watch us for free every single day. That's how we roll. But this campus program, which I'm going to talk to you guys about, which you guys have all heard about, it is free. And so if you're interested in becoming a trader, if you're interested in day trading, then this is the kind of program that you're not going to have an opportunity to do just anywhere. And because it allows you to trade real money, gain real experience, I'm bringing it up because I think it's fantastic. We all believe it is fantastic. So if you haven't heard what it is a full program from start to finish, from the beginning and the basics, learning the functions of the market, absolute basic level for the first just a couple of days. Then you get into trading where we're trading, which is Peak Pro 8. It's proprietary to Day Trade the World. You're going to learn about the program, hotkeys, all that good stuff. And once you're proficient there in a couple of weeks, you head on into TMS, which is the simulator. Trade in the simulator, you get one-on-one coaching while you do so. You can meet some trading objectives. This will last about a month. You get a certificate at the end of it and head into phase 4. That's where everyone gets excited to be able to trade live. You're going to go into live mode, still get that one-on-one coaching, great program, and from there, you have the ability to become a funded trader. So there is a light at that end of the tunnel, which a lot of people are looking for. 16 hours a week, so it's great if you're just looking for something you can do part-time. All you got to put in is time and effort. It is November 6th, the next start date for this next round, so you got to get those applications in. Scan that QR code right underneath my face, or go to campus.daytradetheworld.com. So if you're interested in learning like we're all doing every single day, then this is definitely for you. Got to say it, you cannot be a U.S. resident, unfortunately. So yeah, it's just how it is, so I'm contractually obligated to say that. Back to this impressive market, however. Still running to the upside. I did want to call out Cassava Sciences, by the way. Whatever buyer that was, it dipped back down into 20. I didn't see, I don't know, there was size at 1990. I didn't see it the last time it was in there, but it still bounced off 20 anyway, so maybe that buyer, I have no idea if they're still there. It's too deep in the book for me to be able to find it, so it's bouncing off the 20. Cassava's found support off this level. If you go to the daily chart, not necessarily random, it's holding above what was the last resistance on the daily, so it looks pretty good. Maybe look for a continuation here. It's getting a little bit thin, but the volume's still holding up a little bit. So this is looking interesting if it can hold on to 20, maybe start stair-stepping into the upside. I like PayPal. That doesn't even want to dip. So PayPal came back 10 cents, maybe 15. That's not going to be much of anything. This is looking pretty strong. I don't want to necessarily move up to here to the 80s. I'm still waiting at the 70s. Might just have to be the 80s. PayPal looks pretty strong here right now.
All right, let's go. Microsoft right now at its highest it's been since it broke, but right back to 60 again. Where am I waiting? Like, where's my order? All right, I know where it is. I'm just joking around. It's at 70, but I'm going to put it right now to 58. See if we get a piece out of that one, as we'll see, because it just went again. That's twice that we've made it all the way back to 60, 56, 57 there, and stopped. I don't think that's not a function of anything. It's not like it's stopping for any kind of a wow, how many damn trades do I have on Microsoft today? 127 fills right here on Microsoft today. Just an absolute maniac of a trade. Our fees though, $7.84 today. But nice move here. Let's just keep going on Microsoft. It just completely stopped again. So we took the break. We got out almost immediately of, I told you it was about 45% of it. Then we got out of half of what we had left, or a little bit less. Either way, we are now trying to get a little bit out here as the market heads to the highs. Not the highs, bounces off VWAP and just comes back in right now. But hitting off 14.3 again, still sticking above the IB high, looking to take out 14.3, which happens to be VWAP. One more trade before I send it over to Frank. That was going to be AMD. And I mean, the thing about AMD is, if we take this 95, which is going to be VWAP, then we want to go long. And it's not, the VWAP is 94.80. But I want to see a 95 break right into here, break higher, and then we'll see about this level here at 95.40 where we shorted it. So a little bit of a break for AMD, and your boy is all over that one, as there goes Microsoft right back up to the upside. Give me a fill before we go to Frank. You know where my order is. It's 10 cents higher than where we are right now. So we'll throw it over to Frank. He rallies the market most of the time. So we'll see if we get that fill on the long for Microsoft right now in the money, 50 cents. So let's go. Oh, there it is. Yes, sir. All right, so we can spin it right now because that's the fill right there on 330.60, 330.58 right there. We got it. So that's good. We waited for that one. Thank you, Mr. Caberna. And over to the desk with Brendan.
Everyone, good luck on Thursday afternoon. Let's get into a few things we need to know here as you head toward what could be the biggest economic event of the week coming up tomorrow morning at 8:30. We'll get the latest reading on PCE. Before we do that, Frank, want to get your thoughts on what happened this morning with this GDP look. Obviously an advanced number, so it's not the final and be-all, end-all, but 4.9%. Looks like we're not in a recession.
Yeah, economy still looking strong aside from some of the weak earnings moves. Obviously, we've seen over the course of the last 48 hours, the GDP number, a good sign that maybe we're not going to fall into deflation or recession or any of these words that everyone fears around that soft landing, Brendan. But yeah, it feels like we're still really monitoring employment data and then inflation data as well. So if we were to get a number that is much higher for this PCE, for example, tomorrow, or non-farms next week, I think you might see markets shake up off of that a lot more than we have seen today with that GDP. And here's the expectation for the number tomorrow at 8:30. And remember, PCE, of course, I have to mention this every single time, it seems. This is Fed Chair Powell's favorite inflation number, feels that this more than CPI gives him a good feel of just how sticky inflation is. And remember that that's the topic of conversation now. It's no longer how high can inflation get, it's how long can inflation stay. And the expectation is that it falls 1/10 or 0.2%, depending on whether you're looking at core or headline inflation. If we get a number that is the same as previous or a little bit higher, on track with some of the employment data that we saw a couple of weeks ago and the GDP number that we've seen, then you might see another run higher in yields. And what I would maybe expect to see more downside in stocks it seems like at least this week, almost all news being translated as either momentary fleeting good news, but then eventually into bad news. But you never know. With these inflation numbers, it seems like stocks have gone both higher on higher inflation and lower on higher inflation. So it'll be a really interesting number to get tomorrow, and it'll really inform what we'll expect to see out of Fed Chair Powell when he sits down to speak next Wednesday.
I've been sitting here watching the 2 and 10 year over the past couple of days, waiting for that magical moment where they get back to the right side of the curve, as we like to talk about, but hasn't happened yet. We got really, really close to a point where it was probably break even at some point. But this chart that you sent us kind of highlights the fact that yes, inflation is coming down. Yes, there might still be work to do from the Fed, but look what is also happening to the market here.
Yeah, with every March lower in inflation, the stock market took a leg higher over the course of especially last October, November range until now. Remember, that's when inflation fear was really peaking, was in the fall of last year. And you'll remember that's when stocks really turned around. But we've seen a whole mess of nuance in the last couple of months here, as you see, there's one last push to the highs in the stock market coinciding with when inflation really came off a few months ago, the early part of summer. But since then, there's been just other fear in the market that's not necessarily how high is inflation and how high might the Fed hike interest rates. Now it is this piece that the Fed doesn't really control. They can try to influence with potential rate cuts next year, but they don't control that 10-year or 30-year. Like you say, you continue. I'm right there with you, watching for longer term rates to finally normalize against short term rates. We're so close. But yeah, you can see here the Fed very unlikely to do anything next week, and inflation that comes out tomorrow, unless it beats expectation by 0.5%, we see some crazy jump in inflation. They're probably not going to do anything, but all eyes are on Powell to see if he's going to take rate hikes off the table for the foreseeable future, like so many of his peers in Europe and Canada and Australia have done recently, or if he leaves that on the table. What's interesting about, like I say, this nuanced situation, Brendan, is even if he just says, yeah, we're still monitoring this and we're, not taking interest rate hikes off the table, I wouldn't necessarily think that they're going to start pricing in, another 25, 50 basis point hike, but you might see that 10-year and 30-year really be let loose to the upside in terms of yield, because I think people starting, you see the articles start to flow and the rhetoric from talking heads start to come out of when will the Fed now cut interest rates, their overnight rate, to try to influence longer term yields lower. And it'll be really interesting to see, like I say, if he nods one way or the other, because it seems like the most volatile piece is that 10-year and 30-year right now they're sitting right there at 5%. The 10-year, I think, is about 5 to 10 basis points under 5%. The 30-year is just over it. But you'll remember that overnight rates are around 5.25 to 5.5. And so really huge inflection point here. And you're seeing yields take a toll on not only the tech sector like they did last year, but the real estate sector, the home builders sector. And so this inflation number will be really interesting tomorrow. If it comes in under, then maybe he does take these rate hikes off the table. Maybe you see 10 years and 30 years back off 5% a little bit. But if it comes in line to slightly higher, that stickiness is setting in, and that higher for longer, might move 10-year and 30-year rates over that 5% threshold.
Yeah, and I think it's key going to the comment side of things when it comes to what's going to happen next Wednesday with the press conference, as we see every single time. The restrictiveness, he loves that word restrictive, and getting rates to a restrictive level that is enough and then keeping them there is what I'm kind of looking for indication of. How long are we going to remain at this level versus, following inflation to the downside? So eventually, as you were saying, when is he going to cut? Is he going to indicate if there's something in the works, early next year, late next year, whenever it's going to be? And how does he maintain that level of restrictiveness, as we like to say? ECB, two things. ECB holds this morning, bit of a surprise, I think, overall, but the market didn't really, kind of shrugged it off as well. Bank of Japan, I should say, coming up next week along with the Fed. Some crazy action again in this JPY overnight.
Yeah, the yen is right there back at 30-year extremes. And a lot of this has to do with it's no coincidence that 10-year yields here in the US are right there at their 15-year extremes. They're, toying, like I say, with that 5% level that's been so hard for them to break in the last decade plus. But also yet another bout of weakness in Japan, and this sets up for another interesting inflection point here in the Forex market going into Bank of Japan meeting next week, and then the FOMC in the middle part of the week. And yeah, this is a level that has only been closed above now, including yesterday was the second time in over 30 years, Brendan, that dollar has appreciated this much against yen, and it's sitting right there. And these are levels that last year the Bank of Japan came out and intervened on its currency, and actually in a pretty effective way. This market fell last year from this 150 high all the way down to the 130 handle. So we'll watch to see what Japan has to say if they come out any weaker than they've been over the course of the last 24 months. It'll be really interesting, but it's also really out of their control as well. As much as it's out of the Fed's control, this 10-year, like I say, is kind of on a run on its own, and we'll see who can rope it in. I mean, maybe we're seeing right now, this is the first significant down day in 10-year and 30-year yields, I feel like, that we've seen in the last couple of weeks, even amid, war in the Middle East. And I don't think it's a coincidence that it's the second more than 1 percentage point lower day in the NASDAQ and S&P. So maybe the U.S. stock market, the only thing that can bring in those U.S. yields going out to the medium and long term. But yeah, inflation will be really interesting. Bank of Japan next week will be really interesting. So will the Fed, obviously. But the organic price action right now from stocks is moving yields around plenty even before these numbers come out.
Yeah, it's an interesting turn, as for the second time in a few days here, we see yields down and stocks down at the same time, which we haven't seen, as you were saying, in quite some time. Lots to come going into next week. Great stuff. Frank Caberna, Director of Strategy over at IG.com. Great to see you.
Thanks, Brennan.
Things are back to normal. Frank comes on and the market just hammers to the upside. So it was what, like 40, I think we got 40 to 50, 45 points on the NASDAQ, something along those lines. It looks pretty darn good as we're heading to 14.3. I was just observing that entire time. Oh, I'll get to PayPal in a second. I want to go to Apple because that's new. That entire 50 handle move, Apple went 10 cents. So Apple did not participate in most of that move. So I feel like if we fail, I know if we fail 14.3, this is the name that I want short. It's not a VWAP, so I'm going to treat it just like I did Micron. Like tight stop here, but if it fails VWAP, I want that to be a separate trade. I want to get to is PayPal just now. PayPal did not dip. It just ripped. So I'm looking to get in here off 52, try to give it into 51.9. Don't need that bit anymore. Like I said, PayPal's on a bit of a run, relatively strong, breaking out these highs. I want to join this one to the upside. And then the same thing goes for Morgan Stanley, which I took out at the high. This is one like kind of at the start of the show. It finally broke VWAP and held that 72 level, so got in there. I'm just looking at the higher low now. So 72.30-ish, that would be the zone that I like for Morgan Stanley. As far as Oracle goes, I was looking for a place to be able to add into it. I don't know if VWAP is going to even be a thing anymore. I like VWAP. I don't want to give up on VWAP. Let's see what happens if this market does indeed dip 14.3. But Oracle to me has made a bottom at 100. I'd only be looking for the long somewhere in and around VWAP on Oracle. Sava is, I'm not bidding 20s anymore because Sava already went to 21. So it did that. And if it's falling off of 21, then I don't want to get back in at 20. Like that'll be a double top, and I'll see what happens when it gets there, but I'm not going to bid 5% away on a stock like that. I want to make sure that if it gets down to 20, there's still support. When it was here, that's when I like the 20 long. When it's already broken 21, I think you peel back a little bit.
All right. We are looking, and thanks, Frank, for coming through. It was a great little segment there. And we did get the market to rally to the high side. I just saw, thanks to Derek for sending this over to me, alone, 450 billion in market cap wiped away from Google and Meta alone this week. That is monstrous, but I mean, they can gain that back pretty quickly as well. But there goes Microsoft right now, $1.40. Did we just get that, Phil? Yes, we did. Let's go, man. And
Hola, like and subscribe today.
the remix right into the Ola right there. So there it is right there. Look at that. We get the fill that we want. And again, the trade that we gave to you, this is $1.50 straight up. You know, like we told, not straight up, but this is what the trade was. We said 330 break Microsoft, we're taking the long. You know, that's what we said. That's what we had on board. Boom goes the dynamite right there at $1.50 for you. And then the other one right here, good move upside. Let's go. We just got a 13 fill right there on AMD. It's only a dime piece, but we're going to see if we can get back up to the upside here. We're waiting at 18s right now, as that was another one that we just talked about. One, two, and three.
Another one.
All right, it's enough. And then the cash cow coming through. Let's go. Did we get 18s yet? No, we did not. We are waiting now at 18s for advanced micro devices ahead of, yet again, another earnings, and that's going to be Intel in the chip space. So we'll wait to see if AMD wants to get going or not. We just got a 14. I don't think we got an 18 fill there. No, we did not. So we don't have that high trade, but we do have it out on Microsoft. Let's go over to Alibaba quickly, as that once again seems to be wanting to bounce off of 83.03, like as if I have any idea why that's happening. We said our stop would be, okay, a break of 90, so I'm sticking with that. Remember I said that the 50 period will come up here? Well, now the 50 period's at 94. So if you really wanted to save yourself a dime, or not even a dime, I'm getting out at 89, so the slippage 88, 87. So I guess, yeah, about that. If you want to get out now at 95, 96, go for it. But I still think I'm going to wait for a breakthrough 90, which would be, you know, down here. So it is a little bit lower on that one. Microsoft rate back up. It's AMD that's having the problem with, you know, for myself right now. It doesn't look like it wants to extend too much past. When did they report? We have Amazon. I want
October, I just looked it up.
31st?
So I wasn't sure. October 31st.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because I remember that we were talking about that before. So
It is next
October 31st. Wow. Okay, here we go. Let's see if now we can get a little bit of diamond hands. And as I say that, I put an offer at 24 and ring Reggie right there on advanced micro devices. So that's about net $2 worth of a trade so far. $1.50 on Microsoft, another 25 cents right now on AMD, $1.75 in the pocket right now. So let's keep going, see if we can get going to the upside right now on all of these names. I mean, the market looks like it,
The market
took VWAP.
It's basically through any kind of resistance that was left. The only thing that stands in the way, not the NASDAQ, this is the ES, is the ES actually at the high, 4,200 on the ES. On the NASDAQ, you're not even close to the highs on the NASDAQ, so you're looking at the S&P and saying 10 handles from now, that's where the resistance is. I want to play the move into there, so I still like the longs. I'm on the dip for Morgan Stanley here, as we need to go to Brendo.
Just reading a note here, guys, on HTZ, Hertz. They reported 1/3 of the value of their fleet of Teslas. If you remember back in 2021, they bought 100,000 Teslas for their fleet. They've lost 2/3, so 1/3 of their value gone after the price cuts that Tesla has implemented.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen. I mean, unfortunately, I mean, good thing for Hertz, I guess, is that they're rental cars. So I know they want to flip them over, but I think Tesla hopefully have a little bit of a longer shelf life, and they'll be able to use those to their advantage. But that's not a good look there, and it's too bad, because that stuff happens, right, where you get chopped down on prices. And I mean, good for Tesla. It doesn't look to be good for Hertz. And that was something that you should have. Yeah, it's funny. What is it?
Hertz is. They report on. They're also the 26th. So
they report today.
That was today. They were pre-market. I actually missed this one this morning. I thought, for some reason I thought they weren't yet, but the one I'm interested in is AutoZone. 11% short float, by the way, on Hertz. So I don't know. Like, it just took out $10 today. Sorry, I'm looking up at the daily chart, and you're not showing it to you guys because that wasn't on camera. So, wow, flat bottom break at 10 even. This was a bit of a missed opportunity the more I look at it. So flat bottom break at 10 on the daily. Whether or not, I don't know how liquid this would have been at 9:30 to be able to take a 9:50 break, but that looks pretty clean. Look at this triple top-ish at $9. Could be like an SSR breakout kind of play because it's short sell restricted at this point. So I think I want to respect that. But yuck, that is nasty. Bad day for Hertz. We mentioned one of the names reporting before market tomorrow is AutoZone. That could be a mover. I think that the space has been under a lot of pressure, and I think that could be a mover worth looking at. A little bit more of an expensive stock, but I think that's absolutely fine. Sometimes you got to trade those names on earnings. I want to come back over to the interesting name that I want today because after earnings, there we go. Morgan has been strong. I want to stair step it to the upside. I did get out in this range, but it was rejecting the high when the market was at resistance. I'm looking to jump right back in. Do not want to chase the top on this one. Not on Morgan Stanley, not at that price. I want to see if I can't get a dip buy. And I still got my eyes on Cassava Sciences. It's back down into that 20 level. The buyer is most certainly still not there. So the bid is pretty thin. It did stall out at about 1980. And it's trying to regain some strength. If I see some bids start to come in there, then maybe it'll reestablish that 20 level. But there's a reason why when it already makes a move off that level, you want to check and see what happens when it retraces from 21 to 20 instead of just sitting on the bid there and assuming the buyers will still be there because they are gone on Cassava Sciences. For now, that one is not on the bid, but it's still on the radar. What else do we have? Ford is an obvious short on earnings.
Yeah, probably. I mean, we put that out today. I already said Ford short. Well, where is it?
It's at $11.50.
That,
it was at $12 earlier. Like $12 level, if you look at it, has been really good on Ford. I've actually preferred GM for this week, but you look at the resistance on Ford at 12. I think they both kind of stink, but but Ford pays a dividend, so that makes it like marginally better. Yeah, GM. $30, $29 actually, like right now, $29 looks pretty interesting to me. I didn't realize this was at $29. Yeah, if going into Ford earnings, market running, GM, no volume, failing VWAP. Interesting. I kind of like GM here.
Dude, Ford is
short,
post-market.
not long. Ford's aftermarket.
I thought it was before market. Okay.
Yeah, they're aftermarket.
Post, yeah.
So like that's spicy, but GM kind of a sell-off, failed $30 today. Now you have VWAP and 29 sitting out in here. I kind of like this one to the south side. And with the market's going to roll over a little bit, I mean, why fight something which is strong? Like this is already a weak name. Look at the lack of volume on this move to the upside as well. I think this could bleed back in there. Ford, I would say the same thing about Ford, but Ford's cracking VWAP and the $12 is a good level. Plus, too, like when you're going into the earnings, it's a little bit less predictable when you've already had the news come through, which was not very good for GM. I just think it can be a little bit more simple to have to not worry about the crazy spikes, especially if there's like an imbalance or anything like that. So I like GM here. That's actually a good look that you brought that up because I didn't realize GM was all the way back at 29.
Yeah, I did. I sold NVIDIA. We were long at $399.25. I thought it was going to break through, back down through that 200 period. It did do that, and then we got out there at 403.50, 403.60, something like that. But yeah, pretty disastrous as it goes all the way to 410. It should have been a $10 winner, but winner, chicken dinner. NVIDIA is my number one name today off of this play. So, we had it the first time at 400. There's an out there at 402. Like, that's $2, $1, $2, $3, 4, 5. Plus another 4. Like, you're going to add it up, it's going to be decent. So I'm completely fine with it. But again, when you follow your rules, that's sometimes it turns against a little bit there. So that's okay though. We can't hit every top or bottom, and nor do we try to. We just try to like I said, follow rules, stick with what we believe has been working, and that's been working. So. That's that, right? I mean, what else are we supposed to do? It's kind of like, we broke Microsoft to the upside. Like we just, instead of getting out at VWAP, you kind of sometimes make a decision that we already had some past resistance right there to get out again there. So not every single decision that I'm making over here is the exact same reason for in and out. Some stocks which are strong on the day would have different catalysts and different spots to bounce off of, right? And so like right now, AMD, we're not holding this forever. It's right back to VWAP right now. I'm going to use like this 50 period down here at 70, but we are starting to bleed a little bit lower right now on AMD. But again, look at all these outs here, 18s, 19s, 20s. It never really got going. Our best out for AMD was in the 2025, and that started pumping just basically out of nowhere. Boom, hit those tops. And that's where you'll hear me like a robot, like trying to hit them as fast as I can, because when these moves happen, often you got to get out because they're like liquidity vacuums a little bit to the upside. Now it's fading back out. I'm not even loading up right now. I was going to take a little bit more at 75 right into this level, then use like a drop through of 65 in order to get out. But you could maybe put, we could put a little, I'll put a little bit back on right now, but I do feel like there's a better price possibly coming a little bit lower here on AMD. But we could take some shares at VWAP and see where we go. A great out on Softy. We are almost flat on this name. That was good. You guys saw me take that just real quick. We're able to get in and out of that play there on Microsoft. Now we just hold a very small piece, less than 10% left on Softy as we're bouncing off the 50 period here as well. I'll probably just give this back to flat, a little bit of a breakdown below 330, and we'll get out of this one. But so far, so good here this afternoon. It's been a good one. Made back some of those losses from the morning. And then if you guys are wondering, what the heck is this guy doing with his MBIO and what's up with that? There was it's a good question. There was a share offering on MBIO today, and you can see it's doing absolutely nothing. I thought it would really get going. The thing is that it happened up here. It was only 2 million shares or something. There was really no volume on the day at all on MBIO. So when I saw this kind of come through, I was just like, okay. And then I had to pay for shorts, and we didn't get the short until it came all the way back in here to 150. So we got in and got out. Then we had the short call on, and then it went all the way down into here into 38, 39. So we'll wait to see if it can come back, but no volume here. We may have to, we most likely will be punching out of that one. And there goes AMD. So AMD just took it out again. It took out VWAP right there to the downside, and there it is. We get out as it still drips a little bit lower into 60s right now. Out on that break through 70, or I can tell you the price, 68s, right there on AMD, saving us a little bit of money. But here comes Microsoft right back in as well. Softy taking down 330 right now. So yeah, you just take $1.50 and then it goes back to flat. Yeah, this market right here, taking VWAP, taking the 50 period, and just stuck right now. This could be a good buy spot, though. Let's see if it holds up.
Yeah, 33 just happened on Intel, so you would have seen me get into position. It just failed 33. Sorry about this wick. I tried to clean it up, and what happens. So I just got into the short there. I am out of Oracle, rang the register on that one. Had a trailing stop in there on Oracle. Again, this has a wick as well. So there you go. We're long at the 100. I still like the VWAP dip on. I'm going to be looking for the bid on this name. But once it broke back underneath 101.10, that's this high here. I'm going to get out and look for the next entry, which I think can be VWAP. I did grab a dip buy on Morgan Stanley. And, GM, we already sort of mentioned that one at 29. Not really. It's kind of sliding down. Not moving a ton, but certainly rejecting VWAP a little bit here. So we're going to keep an eye on that one. I got my eyes on Sava. Just if it makes a move, I'll let you guys know. I'm not really seeing anything crazy there, but the new position for me is going to be Intel. That chart's a bit of a mess. I don't know why I'm missing half the day. So there's a 15-minute. I want to be able to show the entire day on Intel for some context. So this morning, off of the afternoon highs, had a short, got stopped out. It's that exact same level that I'm working with, exactly where I had the short at the top and then had to get back in. This is where it happens to be turning. So it's 33 is a round number, but it's also a decent level when you pull up the 15-minute chart. That's why I like it here. That's why we're in it. Going to get some out at the 80s and then look to see if it can continue any kind of a push down. We're back underneath 14.3 on the NASDAQ. So it seems like a pretty logical spot to curl. And just because I said I would, yeah, Sava's still holding on to 20. The volume's kind of trash. Be honest with you, but it is. There's now nothing happening on the tape, but it is holding this 20 area in 1980. So if it was going to make another move to the upside, I feel like this would be it. At 313, shouldn't really trade things that have no volume if they're flyers. So probably not for me. I think you need to have it when everybody was excited about it in here and still had some pep in its step if you're going to join late. But yeah, no volume. I'm looking at the tape and there hasn't even been a real print that wasn't a small D print in the 20 seconds I've had it up. So I'll call that one a nothing burger. Stick to the other names we're looking at here.
All right, we just got a, this MBIO is so stupid. Okay, so again, like no volume. First of all, we're gonna go longer on Microsoft down here. We're waiting very, very patiently to get another bid. We took a small bid there at 50s, but now we're gonna wait to see, or sorry, at 70s. Now I'm waiting here. Where am I waiting? 27s? All right, let's put a piece. Okay, cancel the 27s. I don't want to get too many shares. We'll take a little bit there. Now we'll just go back into the 20s just for one more piece. And then we'll get the default that we want. Okay, it's a good thing we got a little bit more there. Now we're long at 64, so 15 cents out of the money off the 200 period for Microsoft. A pretty epic pull. Pretty epic move down. This is a minute chart. This is about 10 or so straight. All right, we got to get something out here on the pull back up. Just went into the 65 area. We were at 65. You see how 65 was stacked there? I don't know if that's a surprise or not, but there was pretty stacked bids there, or offers there at 65. I don't see stacks anywhere else. Oh, come on. All right, well, whatever. Hopefully that will come back in and we won't have to cry over spilled milk. So hopefully that comes back through and we get out at 60. All right, I don't know. Just in case that was 65 was there for a reason, like I just picked it randomly, we'll offer 60s. Oh man, that sucks. A pullback right down of 30 pennies on me right there with no fill in the 60s. But we're still looking for that fill. So hopefully it will come up and we'll be able to take that out for Microsoft. But yeah, that's too bad. Okay, let's go. Upside move. We're going to get out if it breaks 329, right? We'll get out of about 75% of the position and then hold the rest. This has been a big-time love-hate relationship with me on Microsoft today, and more to the hate than the love. But we still love Microsoft because it's been a top name for us. And the thing is, it's just been good off that very bottom. So, or what?
No, or just because there's a thin line between
love and hate, but there's a thin line in this Microsoft trade too. Yeah, so that's a good one.
I like
all right,
that
there we
song.
go. We're at 60. We just got out.
Any movie or song reference, if it's out there, if you put it on the tee, we got to be able to hit it. If you can't hit something off a tee, then you're playing the wrong game. So I took the first out there, 80s on Intel. I probably want to reload this, but the futures have been trend up. So if we get a bounce here off of 14.25, I think I'd want to see some failure at 14.3 before reloading anything to the short side. That's the way I want to think about it. So not an automatic reload, but I am looking for a reload at that price. There was a question, am I taking SOV? I said I don't like SOV on the volume, but if I was taking it, it would have been long in front of that support. But as I said, no volume, no likey. There was something that I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to do this for myself. This is a gigantic fail. Huge fail for myself. Every single day on lunch money. First of all, I was in Palantir, and it's not the fact. I bought it at VWAP, and I got out for a hit. I can live with, it was stair-stepping to the upside. I can live with taking the hit on Palantir. What I cannot abide by is the fact that the pre-market low was $15.04, and then it wicked the bottom to go to $15.03. When Palantir does this at an even dollar level, you just want to take the trade. And it's just, as a day trader, like that, this is one of these stocks that if it gives you that opportunity off the flat even dollar, you generally speaking just want to take it. It even gave you a higher low. It's back to VWAP. So anyways, I knew there was something I wanted to get to. Having a trade and taking a hit is like, that's the cost of doing business. Missing what on a stock like this is an A+ setup, that is a problem because you're not going to get a dip like that. 97 or 80 cents straight down into 15, holds the low by 1 cent, and then a higher low by 3 cents. Like, you're not going to find risk to reward trades very often that's set up that way. And Palantir is one of the stocks that tends to give it to you. So when it's there, when it's there, you just want to take it. So that was I knew there was something that I'd forgotten to mention. As Palantir, it wasn't on the rundown. Like, there was nothing special about Palantir today, outside of the fact that it got to that $15. So I got to dip into Morgan here. I'm going to play some inside of the range and try to hold on. This is chasing it a little bit. We had it off VWAP. I don't think we're getting VWAP again. So I was able to take it off the previous high, get some out in front of the high of the day, rinse and repeat until this breaks out, which I think it still could. And speaking of rinse and repeat, it's not quite VWAP, but it's getting pretty close here on Oracle. You're at 185. It's close to VWAP, comes back down in here, maybe one more bounce, a little tighter. I want this maybe closer to the 60s than the 70s, but I'm still looking to re-enter this trade in Oracle, acknowledging that the market is pulling back. But hey, we still have a really good chance to put on a higher low. Look, it's what, 6 candles straight on a 15-minute that were green on the NASDAQ, only 1 red. We could still be heading up here.
I forgot to mention I have a really cool story. First of all, let's go Microsoft back up to 330 right now, which is starting to make it sing a little bit to the upside right now. So I took an Uber home last night from the Raptors game, and I get in the Uber, and I'm talking, and I was kind of like, wow, I was talking like, wow, you know, this is like Uber's expensive here because it was after the game, and I was just talking a little bit about whatever, and just, you know, sparking up conversation.
Shooting the, you could say shooting.
Sparking it up. Yeah, shooting the you know what.
Yeah.
Anyways, the guy turns around, he turns the light on, and he goes, oh my God. And I'm like, oh shit, here we go. And anyways, and he goes, I know you. And I'm always like, let them figure it out kind of thing, right? Because it doesn't happen that often. And I told him it's only the second time ever that this happened in an Uber. And he turns around and he's like, oh my God, you're Sean from Trader TV Live. And I go, pleasure to meet you. And I shook his hand and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh my God, I love your daughter, all the things that you're putting on there. You've taught me so much how to trade. My son is 15 years old or whatever, watches the show, similar to Mark's kid there today. And anyways, I just told him, thank you so much. He talked all about it. He said, say hi to Neil, say hi to Brendan as well. But that's really nice. I mean, that happens.
It's always fun.
Not that often, but it's always fun when it does. And then it's so crazy because at the end of the trip, he just gets out of the Uber. I told him, I said, you can take, you know, if you want me to take a picture, blah, blah, blah. I said, I wish I had a coffee mug to give him. Like, the guy was so super nice. I even tweeted at Uber.
You gotta walk with swag.
I know how nice of a ride that was. It was so good. Anyways, we took a picture. So I just don't know if I should say his name, but it was a great opportunity to meet. And that just goes like, I really want to do that meet and greet. Man, I really think that would be really fun because.
Well, we're going to the Raptors game.
Some of the stories. Oh yeah, that's right. I got to actually. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to go to Real Sports, which we're telling everybody that's where we're going.
Well, yeah.
November 13th. I just got to make sure I.
Well, we planned to go to Real Sports last time, and it didn't.
No, but this time I got to get a reservation. Last time I think it was pretty close.
No, there was something happening. So the last time we went to the Raptors game was a group of Trader TV. Our plan was to go to Real Sports, sports bar downtown Toronto by the ACC. And we got there, and there was something else going on that night. And it was really busy, and we ended up at.
It's called Hoops.
Hoops.
Which is not as very good. There's a lot.
I don't want. Yeah.
There's a lot more. There's a lot more options
it was not.
this time.
It wasn't as nice. But yeah, we should.
A place called Beer Town.
Real Sports. There's a lot of opportunities. We'd love to meet some people. It's always fun when you do. To be honest, like sometimes it's the most random thing, but I think that story is awfully cool, and it'd be nice to meet some, put faces to the names.
That's it. That's just fun because they tell you things, and the guy's like, you know, I do this, I made that trade, I really learned a lot.
Ponzi.
It's back and forth. Coffee?
No, Ponzi just said, ask Sean if the driver asked about the Ponzi.
Yeah, he did. He said, you know that guy, the Ponzi? That guy's the best. And I was like, yes, he is. So
that's awesome.
No, he didn't. But
No,
you know what else he did is he said that he was a follower. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming it's true. Why would it not be? He's been a follower on both of our accounts basically since day one. He remembers when we just had a couple hundred followers. I was like,
that's taking it way back.
That's pretty old school.
Back in the time.
Right there. So shout out to that. That was a lot of fun. I'm trying to make reservations.
What still has to I'm glad you are because I wouldn't.
What is the date?
I wouldn't
I
remember.
It was Monday.
It's the 13th, November 13th.
Oh, it's not in the calendar. Okay.
It's on the calendar.
It's not.
Whatever. You know what?
Don't worry. Just go about the show.
Pretty sure it's November 13th. I was going to say, what the hell was I just going to say?
I don't know. This is why I said, don't worry about what I'm doing. I'm going to try to.
No, like 2 seconds ago, I had a thought in my head. It wasn't my chart's on GM, but it wasn't GM. I promise you, it was something else. No, it's November 13th.
It is 100%, right? I'm just going to look up the tickets right here.
20. I'm like 90.
I'm
97.8% sure that it's November 13th.
I just don't want to make because we screwed up the reservation last time.
Here's my thing. Out of sheer principle, I never. Like saying you're 100% on something, like when you're 100%, like right away. But if you think about it for a second, you're not 100%. So you should never say 100% if you had to think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to ask me my daughter's birthday, I'm 100% on my daughter's birthday. You want to ask me what day we're going to the Raptors game, I usually need to look at a calendar. I have to look at a calendar to know whether I'm taking my daughter to gymnastics or swimming. I'm that bad. I know there's something almost most nights, but I generally speaking have to look at the calendar to remember exactly which one it is. I really want to remember what it is the next time. Believe it says, Neil, talk about your wife. I've mentioned my wife many times. It's been fantastic the last couple of weeks, but it's been ridiculously busy. She was in head office for a company in Germany, and this week she has a big course she's doing. So it's been super busy for me in the evenings. That's why I couldn't go out with the guys the other day. She's been doing a course on cybersecurity and data analytics, which is great. I mean, it's fantastic. I'm super proud of her. And tonight, I'm pretty sure, again, like I think it's like her class is till like 4 to 7, and she's working full time. So I get to be, I get to have some daddy-daughter time. Again, this evening, last time we basically played Monopoly, Life, this like weird ogre game. It's a board game that I don't really understand, but she always beats me at. And then it's Very Loud Librarians, which is a heck of a lot of fun. Like it's like a word game. I said it this morning. It's a word game. You get a letter. Well, actually, you get a category, and then you move around a board, and then you got to say a letter for that category. So it'll be like Marvel superheroes or whatever it might be. So that's a lot of fun. What else we got? I still don't remember what I was gonna say. It was stock related. It's gonna bug me. We'll get the early look in 5 minutes. Maybe at some point I'll remember what it was. It wasn't Apple. It wasn't Tesla. Noah, Monopoly, let's go. In high school, we used to play Monopoly for money. Like our big, and we're kind of nerds that way, but like we didn't have a lot of money. We played for like 20 bucks.
Right.
And we'd get like 3-for-1 pizza, because that was the cheapest pizza joint that there was. It was okay. It was actually not that bad. You get pizza and wings, 3-for-1 pizza, and we'd play Monopoly for money.
We're teenagers, right?
And I was like, we're teenagers. We had no cash, man. So you had to be cheap. What else did I want to get to? Tesla.
All right.
Tesla 210 just now. Oh, this market could be pulling back. Tesla 210. On a dime, Tesla just went to 210 if that's a real wick, and pulling back underneath VWAP. Some of these shorts might start to look good. Although I am in an Oracle long, so I got to attend to that one. It's the longs that I think you got to attend to. I'm long off VWAP on Oracle. Maybe that's what I was going to say. I got back into Oracle. There you go.
All right.
Are we booked?
Yep, reservation is now confirmed for Real Sports. So
now it better be the 13th.
we will be there on some random date.
Oh, I could have just checked the ticket confirmation.
That's what I did. I opened up my phone and I got it. It's right there. It's really cool. The Raptors app is actually pretty cool.
Well, I just add the ticket to my wallet, and I can always look at it there.
Yeah, exactly. The wallet's a cool thing, too. Actually, I should do that as well. I added that yesterday. It's kind of cool. You just tap your phone on the thing. It's awesome.
I'll try not to bring my work bag. Like last time, I talked about you're not
allowed to bring
you're not allowed to bring bags into the
into the coffee.
into the Raptors game. But like I had mine, and I'm like, look, I'm just talking my way out of this one because I don't want to. So I did, but I'm not going to do that this time. It was not worth the effort. But.
No, it's not. I mean, if you can, well, you can just keep your stuff here too.
I know that's what I'll do, but like you can't tell me no in that situation. It's gonna happen. So that's why I told I'm like, look, I'm bringing this bag in. So deal with it.
You're a gangster like that. Microsoft, we were lucky to get that out, man. It just wicked right. I mean, lucky, I don't know. We put the order there, but there's the out right there for Microsoft 330.20 right now. Make sure you do follow us on all that stuff on the top right. 330.20 right there, and we haven't done this too much today.
Like and subscribe today.
Yeah, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and do all that fancy stuff right there today. I was going to have to take, I got to go get my daughter's skate sharpened and then take the boy to chess tonight.
How come you haven't?
A lot of fun. All right, so let's see if that keeps on going. 330 O's back and forth right there. All right, so what else do we want to do? NVIDIA is embarrassing. It's at 407. I know. Meta, let's just check out Meta. So Meta is an absolute amazing stock today because it had such a great move down and then really just bottomed out right here around 282. Forget about that ultimate bottom. I mean, you really got squeezed out right there. That kind of sucks. You could probably see some capitulation down there if I put up some volume. But that 282, 283, really bounced off there, came right back in and gave someone an opportunity to buy at 284. I don't think I would have bought right there, though. I feel like I don't really know where. This is what I mean. It's why I'm not in it. I don't really know where I would have got in here. VWAP didn't really hold. I feel like I would have got stopped out there. The only thing I'm noticing right now is this is a 50-period moving average. So you can sort of see that once you got down into here, if you're playing long, which I don't think you really would have gone long, at least it wouldn't have fit my parameters just because of where we are on the day. But, if you're going to go long, you can take it off the 50 period, and it's never really gone against you all the way up. So it's about $6 straight there from 287 or so, where we were down there. So 286, 286.50. Nice downside move on that for Meta, and then a huge move back up. But just like Microsoft, when we took that 330 break, I know it's failed back again now, but it went to 330, 331, which we got, right? 331.50, we just said. But right there, this could be a good break again at that high. 394 right there, that high on Meta. So watch out for that. That could be a good fade spot as well. Let's just wait to see what the market does.
294.
What are we? Oh, we're minutes away.
We're 30
seconds
seconds away from the early look. I just put in the chat, I don't know if Dio is still here, but Dio Sancho in the chat, while we're doing the campus promo, had asked if it was accessible to the blind. And unfortunately, the answer is no. However, I can tell you this. Right now, P Pro 8 is not fully accessible. There are some fantastic audio features there, but I did just mention to the guys in charge of the program and some of the people in the back office that it would be great if there was that accessibility, because there really isn't any. There's no reason why it can't be built to be accessible. So that's the kind of thing that would take obviously a lot of work, but it's a great suggestion. So we're going to get that there. GM starting to roll back over. It's at 29.80s, 82. So I just took some out as the market's rolling back in, and of course, I decided to get on the bid of Oracle at VWAP there. Hit enter twice, and then it'll flip. So we'll see if it can hold on to VWAP. We trailed out of this. It was a good out, but we'll see if this holds up, getting back in on this dip buy. So GM, Intel short. I don't know if there's anything else that I had liked short. I did want to keep an eye on Cassava Sciences. Oh, see, it would have been a good long off 20. Whatever. The volume's still terrible on this. But it is bouncing off that $20 level. This could be a bit of a squeeze play, Cassava Sciences. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. But, you got to follow your rules. If the volume is not good, then I don't want to be trading it, especially if it's one of those runners where you expect volume. 630 million to sell is the imbalance. So we get a sell imbalance. The market's pulling back a little bit. I'll be out at VWAP if we get it. If we get to VWAP, I'll take that out on Intel. I keep getting these wicks. These just dark pools. Intel does not have a high at 34.70. 33 and change is the high on Intel. So I'm short off of that high. We'll see if we can get down into VWAP here. Meta daily chart looks insane. Well, on earnings, you're going to get some candles on the daily that are going to look ridiculous, but that's par for the course. You're going to get some interesting candles on.
Yeah.
AutoZone's going to have an interesting candle. Oh, that's what it was. I knew there was something.
Yeah, I was just making the list for
there it is. It was Morgan Stanley. So I was in that consolidation off the top, took some out at the high, and then had the tight stop out. It was going to wait for VWAP. I knew it was stock related. Eventually, it's going to come to me. So Morgan Stanley coming back into VWAP. I don't know how much I like it now that I stare at the Oracle dip buy. But it's still pretty strong. That was the first thing we put back on once it got above VWAP. If we're going to bounce, I might like this more than I like Oracle because of its strength. It's all relative. There's no strength in the stock on the daily, but there's strength in it today. It's been clean stair-step to the upside. At no point was Morgan Stanley a weak name today, whereas the dip buy in Oracle, at least you can say, okay, it made a bottom at 100, but it's, technically speaking, not very strong. It's down 0.7% today, so it has made a bottom, but it's not in the same category as an MS. This is off VWAP, a trend upside dip, as opposed to Oracle, which is hanging on by a thread here at VWAP.
Okay, I'm just trying to stay.
Well, that's a really good question.
Well, yeah, well, sure, go. What is it?
Noah just asked. I have to. Everyone knows I'm a bit of a nerd, and I love space, so I have to answer this question. Neil, Sean, would you trade your stock career if you could have been an astronaut? If magically guarantee you don't have some bad accident? So here's the answer that I always give to this question. The answer is I would not. Because I can't trade my career and become an astronaut, which believe me, I would love to, and then get everything else out there. Because if I didn't have this career, then everything else would have changed. I wouldn't. I met my wife after we had opened. We got together after we had opened our trading floor together. Everything would have changed. And if you're really happy with your life, you wouldn't want to change something major, even if it would be cool. I would love more than anything to go into space. I'm one of those. I'm not going to be an astronaut. There was a guy I ran track with at university who was fortunate enough to he was an engineer, and he was fortunate enough to actually work. I don't know exactly where he got to at NASA, but he got to work with them, and it's even just being in the building, it's like the smartest and most ridiculous people you've ever met in your life, let alone going into space. I would love to be able to do it, but I wouldn't trade it. It's not worth it because, you get too many things with the relationships that we've had over the years. I mean, some of the people that we've got a chance to meet and over the last 20 years, and they're still part of like a trading family. It's just, you don't trade those kind of things away because that's what life is all about. But damn it, would I love to go to space. Maybe I'll just have to fork over $150 million or $150,000 to Virgin Galactic if they're still around. Oh, it'll get cheaper. But the problem with Virgin Galactic, it'll get cheaper, but I don't know if they might not survive till it gets cheaper. That's what I'm looking for. And by the way, if Virgin Galactic gets to $1, I'm on the bid. It's at $1.49. I'm not making this up. It's getting really. Yes. Remember, I've been saying this? Virgin Galactic, if this gets to $1, this is going to be a super spicy, my daily chart's not loading, sorry. Super spicy long if that gets to $1.
Okay. Wow. All right. We did get out of MBIO, by the way. We got filled out there. We just had to put some bids out there. We actually got it a little while ago. 3:20, I guess not that far ago, about 10 minutes ago, forgot to talk about it. Just sat on the bid, got this out. So again, another pretty positive name for us, or for me right there on MBIO. We are getting very close. I mean, we just took some more profit right there as we were talking. Another little bit there on Microsoft. So, all right, this. Oh, excuse me, Microsoft just fell down, which is fine for me. We have a small piece left. I guess we got a little bit left over there, so we will exit out of that in a minute. But we look what we just did. We just took the long right there at 19s out. Our first out's 45s. Our next outs are in the 60s, so that's 40 cents. And then we just lost 20 giving it back. So another profitable name, a profitable trade for us on Microsoft as everybody else is giving it up pretty good. AMD, good one there. We added to our AMD profits there on this trade despite it falling back and now getting clear out of the way as the market now heads down.
Now we're going
so
down.
we were starting to get a little bit juicy up there taking VWAP. This is why it's in and out. It's like that Microsoft fill, man. Like you get filled on Microsoft, and then the next thing you know, like that take up there on that 330 break, it's not that one, it's this one. That goes all the way to 331.50. $1.50, and then boom, the market just is like, no, thank you. We're going lower heading into the close.
31.50?
Yeah, exactly. 331.50, not 34.50. But nice move up there for Microsoft. We'll see. Is there a bouncing spot now? I mean, I don't want to catch falling knives, so probably not. We have a small piece left over. That's just a share calculation thing, so I'm not even worried about it. But maybe we'll buy something back if we get into there. We will put, I might as well just get it. I don't mean to be in this, so we'll just offer it right there at 85. So that's a bad out for the last, it was not like 5%. We got out at 95 on the break, so a good stop order definitely triggered us out right there. Now we're flat, so we can wait to see if there's a bigger, more dramatic move coming through. Brendan brought us the news of 6:30 to sell.
Did we get the super chat from Ian?
No.
I don't think we got to this super chat. First off, thank you, Oracle. I shouldn't have bought the dip on that at VWAP because the future support didn't hold up, and I bought the dip anyways. And if that's a rule, then that's something you should adhere to. I did not, so I think that's kind of silly on my part. You don't just blindly buy VWAP. You want to see support there. But thoughts on Amazon earnings today? Best guess, of course, cloud, e-commerce. Well, they bet not miss on cloud, but I don't think. Remember, Amazon is more. In the cloud space, Amazon's more Microsoft than they are Google in terms that there are the big two, and they are one of the big two. So I would expect, I'm not expecting that it's going to be as bad. I don't think they'll have a cloud number as bad as Google. I'm not seeing that happen. And the good news for Amazon is they've been swept up in this malaise the last little bit, and it will be at the 200-period moving average. This is a bit of a different case as to where, like, Alphabet was chilling out really tight to the top, and it just sort of felt like everything had to be perfect. I don't know that Amazon's necessarily in that bucket. I think they have a better chance. But I haven't liked any tech earnings unless it has to be such a ridiculous beat for any of these to be for them to be any good. Like everybody is getting sold off, even if they gap up in the aftermarket. So I like the 200-period moving average, but I can see this having a good number, breaking out from here, maybe testing some of that, recent resistance, getting into the high 20s and into the 30s, and then we sit down tomorrow. Well, you guys sit down tomorrow. I'm actually going up north tomorrow. So Obi's going to be here. But you sit down tomorrow, and it ends up being a fade off of those highs. The same way none of the strong names could hold on to those tops. I think you're going to have good numbers, but I was pretty convinced Meta was going to have good numbers, and it didn't seem to matter. Microsoft, it didn't seem to matter. I don't see any reason why it's going to matter here, but I would think the initial move is probably impressive numbers top bottom, and then tomorrow we do what's been happening every single day.
Yeah, I'm looking to go short. That's what I'm thinking right now about Amazon. I think like if we could take this 50 period rate here, the 200 period, I think we can get to the lower side here. 119.40 breaking. I'm going to try it into the close. I mean, like we just mentioned there, you know, Azure was a pretty good number, down. Google Cloud, miss. So if AWS is a thing, I would think that it probably sells off a little bit. You know, but they're starting to, their margins were getting better, I believe, last quarter with their retail side of things. And they keep saying that the consumer is strong. We did have strong retail numbers come through on that last retail sales print. So maybe that would spark Amazon, right? Amazon just had a big Prime Day as well. It's not called Prime, it was, what was it, October Prime, or the big day event, big Prime event, something like that. I forget what it's called, but it wasn't Prime Day. But they just had a big one.
I just call
we
it
got
Prime.
a bunch of stuff. Yeah, we got some stuff on that. So I feel like there is going to be something there for that and for shareholders. So here we go. Let's just wait to see. I'm going to go short. Like what I was saying is I think there's a chance, but with this market, we're not really rewarding good names, right? I mean, Meta's, we said that was a decent report, and you saw what happened early, move up, and then faded the rest of the day, and then now, okay, so here we go. We just take that short. Just because we went into the money there, 15 cents, let's put a bid down there. That one as low as 36, I believe. Right there immediately went to 34. So let's put a bid around there, see if we get some love on a flush back down lower. I mean, I'm going to wait, honestly. I don't know if we're going to go to the bottom of the day, but if we take 118, 119 would be pretty sweet to get out if it does start to fall down a little bit more. As the market, we've already said it, it's giving it up. So we'll give this one about to 120. I mean, I think that's pretty fair. So we'll give it to 120. That's where the 20-period moving average is. So we are looking to make 50 cents on this trade. I'll take out 10% or whatever if we do get into that. I always take something out when we flush down like that, as you guys know. So we'll take that.
I thought it was a 21 period.
Oh, it is a 21 period. It is. That was for Max. So that's what it was right there.
Usually when you say 21, Adara has something for us there. But anyways, maybe she's busy.
That's
I said
great.
21. I was expecting.
Yeah.
She throws the do your thing every single time. But look, it's shout out to everyone in the chat. This is a pretty big reversal. You got to put into perspective how strong the bounce in this market was today. Like, I'm a little bit. Surprised is probably the wrong word because this market's been so heavy. Like, how can you be? We shouldn't be surprised when this market goes down, right? Like, that's square one. We should not be surprised when this market goes down. But that was a very impressive rally off the bottom to be right back down to 2%. So I just took out in that vein. I got out of. Wow, this chart. I just got out of VWAP on Intel up that 33, so 33 into 3260. Probably the first thing we were talking about was 33 on Intel. I'm still in General Motors, but that's about it. That's continuing to roll back over. But really, what isn't rolling over, I'm just going to get out if we get down to like 28.50 or so. Let's get to the desk and take care of some business, Brendo.
Brought to you by IG.com. Trade Forex pairs like Euro USD with spreads as low as 0.8 pips and zero commissions at IG. Terms and conditions apply.
Like all day long, TLT's been grinding higher, like just trending. Like this little dip, which really isn't even much of anything, and then you get a quadunk in the futures, and then like TLT's going right back up. Like this is a day, and this is one of the reasons why. Like we'll say this all the time. Like just because there is a relationship or correlation, I'm going to trail GM here. Just because there's a relationship or correlation, one thing to the other normally, does not mean it's set in stone. Like everything is about probabilities. Just because you've been able to use TLT, let's say 7 out of the last 9 days, the levels of the trend has been good for whatever your setup is, trading something against it, doesn't mean it always holds up, because sometimes that's just not how it is, and you've got to respect that when that's the case. And today, most of the time, we'll get these trends to the upside on TLT, and really you're in a downtrend, and you're like, well, what happened to that relationship? It's not that simple. If it was that simple, everybody would be able to just trade for free. Jordan K, can you explain quadunk? It's quadunk. And I forget, there it is. Lone Sophos just has the correct spelling. I don't know why it's spelt that way, but trust me, that's what Sharif told me it is. I think it's a little bit ridiculous. So actually, Sean was in, it's MBIO. I just want to make sure, because sometimes we'll say quadunk to the downside, but the example of what a real quadunk is, by definition, that is a quadunk. Like, it's a move to the downside that is the move of the day in a single candle. Right, like that is a pull, that is a drop, that's a quadunk. It's an entirely fictitious term made up by Tradertv.live, and it was Sharif that did it. So, you know, I probably just said quadunk, but on my 60-minute on the NASDAQ, this is the big, it just happened, and that's the biggest red candle. And we're in the middle of it right now. So that's a quadunk on the NASDAQ. MBIO is just the first thing that came to mind because I remember Sean talked about it. Because when you have an offering, generally speaking, if somebody drops an offering in market, the next candle is going to be a quadunk to the downside. That's just how it works. But you know, like if I look at like GM, like this is not a quadunk on GM. Like GM hasn't had one today. It's got to be something stupid to the downside. It can't just roll over a little bit and drop. It's got to rip faces off. Yeah, Lone Sophos. There's a difference between a reverse, rollover, tank. Like a tank is more of like a steady move to the downside. Quadunk is people just, you know, hope they have the brown pants on in that move. Otherwise, it's gonna get nasty.
All right, I'm thinking it's gonna get nastier in Amazon right now because, again, like we went short a couple minutes ago, right? If we went short Microsoft, this is what it would look like, $1 something in the money, maybe almost $2 in the money. If we went short Google a couple minutes ago, this would be 50 cents in the money. If we went short Apple a couple minutes ago, we would be 40 cents in the money. But instead, we went short Amazon. We are 10 cents in the money. So we'll just take that right there. We are waiting for lower here, but it is being propped up due to what I would think would be earnings. So, you know, a lot of you know, positioning maybe happening or not happening at all right now. Just trying to hold Amazon right here for a potential move one way or the other off earnings. The implied move, I think, was 4.5%. So we'll see if that.
Just about to look for it.
Yeah, I think. Well, you could check again.
No,
I'm pretty
no,
sure.
fine. That sounds
we
right.
looked. Yeah, I thought we looked the other day there.
I think we did look the other day. I just wasn't.
Yeah. So you know, I mean, if it moves 4.5% on 120, you're looking at, you know, $6 one way or the other or so. So, wow. If you get, I mean, that's still a big move. So if you get $6 back up to the upside, then you're kind of going to be in the middle here. And then to the downside, we'd rather not talk too much about that because then you're looking at 110. And most likely there, if they don't say, they don't say what we like, that's the 200 period right there at 117 and change. So that comes into play. We saw Google just cut right through their 200 period as well, GOGGL. It's only still 3 minutes until the imbalance is like, no, sorry, it wasn't Google. That was the 50 period. That was the 50 period. Something else that's way below. Oh, it was Tesla that went all the way down to 205 or whatever it is, and right there right now. And there's that's what it was. So it came down here on earnings and didn't stop at all when we got to 216, 217. It's created a nice little area because we did bounce up 2 days ago, but not before we made these bottom wicks down here at 202, 203. And right now back down into 205. I actually did, and I forgot to mention this, did buy some Tesla today at 205. So we'll see what happens right now, 205, 206. During lunchtime, we did buy a little bit more on that one. So we'll see where Tesla's going here. Hopefully back up, but again, very, very small dip buy opportunities on some of those names. And there was one other one. Oh, and I dip bought Google as well during lunchtime. And these are just, again, adding to my longer term trades here, not swing trades at all, but did buy. And again, the price was kind of irrelevant. I was just sitting here and I was watching the market absolutely puke. And I said, yeah, you know what, this is a good spot to buy it because I'm always finding like I sell when the market's getting killed. And then you look back 10 days later, it's like, why did I sell that day? The market's all the way up. So do reverse thinking and buy.
Buy when everyone's.
Buy when there's blood in the streets.
I actually.
Supposed to do.
I bought the Qs today, but it's just because I'm kind of dollar cost averaging. into the Qs because I don't really have like my long term is usually like the big thing I own is like the SPY, but I kind of like the Qs more in this next little dip, so I'm dollar cost averaging into that. I see. Oh, sorry, I'm just looking this up right now because someone asked about end phase. I see 10% for end phase. So end phase. When is end phase?
Tonight.
End phase is tonight.
Yes.
Was that on our board?
Yes.
Okay.
Or it's tomorrow morning. I mean,
I think. No, it's tonight.
post-
Maybe I missed that on the board, but yeah, end phase.
End phase.
End phase 10%. So 10% is what I just saw at Options AI. If it's something different, apologies. But again, we just look at the source that we happen to see. Like I understand that you can be off by a little bit. So a bit of a bounce here. It's 350, tightening the stop in. It's 349. Sorry, tightening the stop in GM here because if at 350 there's a buy bounce for some reason, I just want to get right out of it. So I'm moving it to like 2870, like right here. And then we'll try to hold on past this imbalance number. So market is trying to hold on to 2% down or slightly less than 2% down, which is wild. Like 40 minutes ago, it was an outside chance the market could go green.
Yes. Yeah, wow.
Actually, it didn't seem.
It was only 1%.
Yeah, okay, like it was within the realm of possibility we could have gotten green at one point today, and now we are once again looking at shorts. There were some good long opportunities to have, but I'll tell you, even like the names that I was pretty sure were strong, like I felt pretty darn good about Morgan Stanley. It was buying the top. Since it stopped out, good thing we didn't buy VWAP, because look at this nastiness. And it's the same thing with Oracle. I wish I hadn't bought Oracle the second time off of VWAP. It's just continuing to go down. So things look strong. Things are going right back to the bottom like they had been doing in this market.
Okay, so kablam right now. It looks like it's going to be, Brendan's going to type it out. I'm going to say it looks like a buy.
Kablam?
There it is. I don't know. 740 right now to buy. It's a good thing we got another out there on, I was just going to call up Amazon and stuff to see what's, whoa, Amazon must be a bit, I didn't even see it on here right now. But there's Apple with a buy. Okay, this is going to rally the market. I'm still willing to sit here on Amazon and take something in the 70s. If it does get back up, that's where VWAP is right now. We'll take a fill. It does not fill me. Absolutely unbelievable as we wait there at 74. That would have been a good fill. Enbridge, Apple, again, like with a buy, you see that with a nice move. There's this guy. Intel's not moving, but they are reporting after. We have Vale reporting. We have Capital One reporting. We have Enphase, like we mentioned. We have Ford reporting. We have U.S. Steel reporting. It's Chipotle time. Get your Chipotle ready. That's reporting as well. Juniper. We're ready to rock and roll, man. It's going to
Juniper. That's a name I have not heard.
I'm just going off.
I haven't heard anybody talk about Juniper in a
network?
very, very long time. It has been a hot minute. Well, okay, it's probably been like a decade, but
Yeah, it probably hasn't been that long, but it's been
you think
JNPR.
You think anybody's mentioned Juniper? I promise.
No,
Nobody said
never
Juniper on this show ever until just now.
No,
Bet.
no.
Well,
how do we
there's
prove
actually
it? But I don't.
Prove it.
We
would be
definitely said it before.
You think I haven't.
I mean, because
never
we've been doing
said-
the show for 3 years and earnings.
Yeah, but
12
Juniper?
earnings quarters.
Remember Siri the other
Now
day?
we've said it about 14 times. So.
Siri, okay, it's like that.
What are you trying to prove, though? Like, what?
Really?
Ramin's
Really,
like, oh,
Ramin?
well, you guys are always forgetting everything, basically.
She was like, you guys forgot about
And
Enphase.
it's like, again, throwing, like, is there, what is the word, like ageism or something like that? Like,
That is ageism.
It's always like, man, these guys are old, therefore they're forgetting everything.
Yeah, like that is some kind of
It's like,
I don't know, like that's some kind of hate speech, Ramin, or something against
yeah, but then
us.
she's like all innocent in my ear, and whoever's ear there is like, but I didn't say it like that.
Okay, I'm obviously
It's like the knife still turns the same
But, like,
way. You know what I'm
seriously?
saying? It's like,
And Dan,
we
no,
have too much fun.
No way, Juniper. There's actually a symbol that's very similar to Juniper. That's fine. I was expecting that to come. Whatever, that's par for the course at this point. No, but the other day there was a symbol that got mistaken for Juniper, and I think it maybe got mentioned then. It was something that was like JN something, and it was close to Juniper, and someone said Juniper then, but it wasn't me. But it definitely, I think it happened. What else? 350 has happened. I did not get trailed out of GM. Why not? I would have thought.
I'm just trying to hold out for
It's
350.
literally not moving. The market bounced. This isn't moving. I'll take that as a hint. It's probably going to bounce with everything else. I'm just going to get out of it. You got to get it. We have to be flat at the end of the day at 353. I think at 355 you get that pairing event and things are going to start to move around a bit. But we'll be happy to have taken that out. Shout out to everybody that was talking about Ford and GM, because I was ready to short something else at VWAP, which probably would have broken VWAP because everything else I was looking at broke VWAP. And then General Motors at 29. I only saw it because someone said Ford. And if you had done this, well, Ford is kind of at the same place, but and Ford would have worked too. Ford reporting after the bell. They've got a deal done. GM's going to get a deal done. So will Stellantis. I don't think that's the worry. I still think they're in trouble.
Ford's tentative. Still tentative.
Oh, but
I don't know. I hope it gets done.
It'll get done. I'm in the camp that you don't, like, cooler heads generally prevail with this. Like, you've got to be able to read the room and what's going on with those companies and what's going on in the economy. You get a fair deal. I feel like this will be done. I feel like Stellantis and GM will get it done. It's just I don't think they're out of the water. I don't think GM's out of the water. I don't think Ford's out of the water.
They're literally sinking. I mean, they don't even have a raft. We're going to find out tonight what's happening with them.
That's not good.
We'll just wait. We already know that
floaty at least.
GM doesn't. We'll see if Ford does later on. Maybe VinFast needs to buy GM or Ford.
A rubber. Okay, GM's got a rubber ducky at least.
Yeah, and then we can get. There it is. Nice little move down for Amazon. All right, we just got filled out right there. That nice fill down there at 56. We're waiting for 55 to come through. That's generally when you'll get a twist up here in the market. So a nice push down. We just shorted it. We had an average price. Good move back in here for Amazon. Let's just wait to see. There it is, a nice little flip over. 355. It doesn't look like the market really wants to do too much. Let's put a bid there. We just got 56s. We're short 74. So we will end the day here trying to get out of the rest of these trades, these shares here on Amazon. Before I go over to the desk, we are going to be joined by Crypto Burb himself. Adrian Zadunchuk will be joining me in the after show, which I'm just calling it up right here to show everybody. Here it is right here. Adrian Zadunchuk coming out. Look at that. Amazon, Ford, Intel. There's Enphase right there.
Enphase.
So that's how Ramin knew. She knew that it was right there on this. So we'll be joining us coming up in just 4 minutes. What the hell am I doing here?
She won't let us forget.
She will never, ever. All right, get out some more here. There we go. We are now out because I just realized the time. So I'm going to be over there. Have a good weekend. I guess you're going up to visit the in-laws. That should be fun for you. And then we will have not once, not twice. It's Obi thrice. Back in the hot seat tomorrow. I'm going to grill that guy.
You should grill him.
I'm going to see what Obi's all about tomorrow.
I haven't said anything yet, but
I'm going to talk to him about Amazon.
Go Bills tonight. The Bills. The Bills need to handle some business.
Hello?
What the hell? Just
that was Obi. He did that. He cut the wire. The thing is that how amazing. I got to go up to the desk, but I just can't stop for some stupid reason. How amazing is it that Obi is going to be on the show, Amazon earnings? You see what I'm saying? This is the quality performance. And
I mean, and really, when you think about it, like I was thinking to myself all week long,
people don't realize that.
Amazon earnings, you want Obi, you guys want Obi on the desk. You want to be able to take a day off because I'll probably be like drunk after the Bills win 48-3. Probably not, but
that's not.
But it is perfect.
All right,
Obi and Amazon earnings. I didn't even realize that. I'm glad you did. Enjoy the after show. The weird thing about it is in our Survivor League, we somehow weirdly want the Bills to lose because they're a big-time favorite, but there's absolutely zero chance that comes first. Just one more for you with 3 minutes to go here. Cassava Sciences is holding on to 20. This is interesting. The Bills aren't covering the 9.5. I agree to disagree. But then I have, I'm a little bit biased when it comes to the Bills. Like never listen to me on advice for players and fantasy, that kind of stuff. I can be objective about it, but I cannot be objective when it comes to the Bills. I think they're winning the Super Bowl every single year. I think they're recovering the spread every single week. So I know my football, but I have a big time blind spot for them. But I want to acknowledge Cassava Sciences, keep your eyes on this tomorrow, up 10%. This is making a really big move and a correction back into the upside. And if you look at this on the daily, this is getting squalls. It's one thing when you quadunk and fill in the gap. It is another thing for the shorts when it quadunks, fills in the gap, and starts breaking out from where it was before. because that is a very different story. This getting out and above this 19 and closing up here is a pretty big deal. Cassava Sciences, it doesn't report or anything like that. It's I'm just going to double check the short float. 36% short float and holding on to the bid on 3 million of volume. So a couple of days in a row that has to be scaring some of these shorts. It should be on the radar tomorrow. New York Jets, Bills or Dolphins will not make the playoffs. You name one of those two teams make the playoffs. Like, you could literally name your odds, and I will do something ridiculous on the show. One of those two teams make the playoffs. I know you're a Jets fan, but you can't say that to me and have me not take that one up. So let's see what's up. Dan Rob's on Team Trader TV. We're all on Team Trader TV, so I'm glad to have you there. Oh, I didn't hit this. I was asked to do this. I have to. Only a minute to go.
Like, subscribe, and share the show that takes you into the heart of the market every day.
Was 100%. That's my bad. We are supposed to do that 3 times a day. That is, I believe, the second time we've been able to do it. And for those of you that are asking or that have asked about it, Adara will be shooting hers soon, because every one of us has to have one of these videos that we can then hit for the other person. Like, I don't have my own. Other people will hit it for me, but that's what it's all about. 30 seconds to go. It is a pretty crazy day in the market. That's an understatement. We're bouncing a little bit here, but I simply cannot get over how bearish a day this has been overall, because it felt like we were going to get off the schneid, and now we're 2% to the downside. So I'm dropping the countdown on. But the shorts have been good today. Sometimes you wish they hadn't been. I bought some cues in my long-term account. Adara is on the bell. There we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and ring it. And just like that, the market is closed, but the fun does not end. I'm going to get very quick there. We got earnings coming through. Shout out to Fabian and Ramin, despite the fact that they mock us for being boomers. We love them anyways. Shout out to Obi, who's going to be taking over for me tomorrow. Great job, as always, on the midday show with Sharif, with Adara. There he is. There's Obi. He's sitting there chilling with Max. They're probably looking at earnings as well. As always, Brendan, want to thank him for doing a fantastic job. We had Frank on today. He's always kicking it. So enjoy your weekend, because I will not be seeing you till Monday, but you know where you're going. Amazon earnings, Ford earnings, Enphase earnings, Intel earnings at the desk with special guest, Mr. Katina, in the recap show. See ya.
Yo, all right, let's go. Welcome to the recap show. Let's get ready to rock and roll, because it is big time earnings season. We've got Amazon on deck. We've got Enphase. We've